Hello all, The Secret Worlds issue 13.2 went live recently, which finished up adding in all the announced content for the issue. There was also an issue 13.1 that I didn't make a video for, but that release and the subsequent update for it largely contained minor tweaks and balance fixes. Oh, and also the side missions for the issue's story content. Now, as far as issue 13.2 goes, they've added in two things people have been requesting for quite some time. First, there's the often requested and often derided Dungeon Finder, and second, there's finally a new PvP scenario for people to enjoy with the addition of Shambala. Now, the Dungeon Finder feature is fairly straightforward. You can hit Shift and V to bring up the Dungeon Finder window, and while there you'll be able to see all the dungeons your character is qualified to sign up for. You can queue up for multiple dungeons separately, or if you've managed to finish all the dungeons in a section, you can queue up for the Dungeon Randomizer, which will grant you bonus rewards upon completion once every 18 hours. It's also a daily challenge now. And speaking of bonus rewards, if you complete a dungeon while you have someone in your party who's never finished it before, including yourself, everyone in the group will get a bonus reward upon completion. Now, down at the bottom of the window, you'll see a selection option where you can choose which roles you're comfortable filling during the dungeon. And you may be thinking, well, the Secret World doesn't have any classes, so how will anyone know what role their team members have queued up for the dungeon with? Well, they've thought of that. In the team window, there's now a role icon next to the character for everyone to see. Though there's a small caveat with that, but if you have some sort of team window UI add-on, those icons won't show up until and unless those add-ons update themselves to use the new UI feature. Funcom's also added in a vote to kick option for the team, as well as a retreat from dungeon feature into the UI. Although there's a fair warning here, but if you simply leave the team without either being kicked or everyone giving up, then you will receive the deserter debuff. So try not to do that. Anywho, I should also mention that you can queue up for the Dungeon Finder in a partially full group. So if you play with friends, but you don't necessarily have the full group, you can still use the group Dungeon Finder feature while playing together. Now, the new PvP scenario is Shambala, which, if you've watched my video on the To Catch a Thief mission, you'll know it's a playfield I love, and I've been waiting for Funcom to add into the game for quite some time now outside of that mission. Now, unlike other PvP options in the Secret World, a Shambala match pays no attention to faction and can be accessed by both the PvP window as well as the scenario computer down in Venice's sunken library. The scenario involves two 10-man raid teams made up of a randomized selection of everyone currently queued for a match, combats King of the Hill style, with everyone participating only being allowed a single life, and there's some environmental hazards associated with the arena as well. For example, the available size of the arena will shrink over time, which will force teams closer and closer into the open central area.
Reducing arena in 3, 2, 1.
There's also a wind hazard that will occasionally blow through, knocking everyone not currently behind cover towards and potentially off the cliff at one side of the arena.
Initiating wind hazard in 3, 2, 1.
And there's also some random buffs that can appear at various locations about the arena. All of this leads to some very frenetic, fast-paced matches that can last anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes, and win or lose, both teams get some sort of reward. Everyone on the winning team, yes, even those who died, get a loot bag containing black bullion, marks of the Pantheon, and a bit of random loot. And that random loot can include any of the new signets or curiosities that were added in with this patch. Yes, some of them are PvP specific, but some aren't, and this is the only way to pick up those new items in the game outside of the auction house or trading with a player. The losing team, on the other hand, will be rewarded with 25 black bullion. There are, of course, new achievements that have been added into the game for both winning in Shambala as well as making use of the Dungeon Group Finder. And as usual, there's some titles associated with those, as well as it's either an item or some sort of new clothing piece, we're not quite sure yet. There's also a new cash shop item that was added in with this patch, a Signet Reward Booster. For your purchase, you'll get a stack of 5 boosters. Each one will grant you a buff where every time you open either a Signet Reward Bag or a Shambala Champion Reward Bag, you'll pick up 2 rewards instead of 1. The buff stacks up to 50 times. Some people are saying this is a pay-to-win item, others are simply calling it a pay-for-convenience item like an AP boost, and others still are saying they just don't care. In any case, it's certainly an attempt by Funcom to put something more on the store people will actually purchase, unlike, unfortunately, clothing items, weapon molds, or side story packs. And there you go, folks. All the content that was added in with this update should be free aside from obviously the Signet Reward Booster, and should wrap up all the major additions planned for issue 13. It wasn't quite the major PvP issue many people were expecting, but it's more than they've done for PvP in quite some time, and Shambala can certainly be a lot of fun, so it's not a complete loss in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Is the Dungeon Finder the bane of MMOs, or are you someone who doesn't like the search for teams and chat? What about Shambala? Have you tried it? Do you enjoy it as much as I do? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, folks. Later.